They say the island itself drinks the blood of those who dare to challenge it. 6 men have already died, all chasing the same impossible dream. A treasure so vast, it could rewrite history. But what could possibly be so valuable that men would give their lives for it? And why does Oak Island, a tiny scrap of land off the coast of Nova Scotia, still hold its secrets after more than 2 centuries of digging? The first body fell in 1861. A man suffocated, buried alive when the ground beneath him collapsed into the darkness of the shaft. Imagine that moment. The air suddenly gone, the earth swallowing you whole. But the diggers didn't stop. They swore they were closer than ever to a treasure that had been hidden centuries before. You have to ask yourself, would you have kept digging? But what they didn't know was that the island was already waiting with its next sacrifice. Because every time someone thought they had beaten Oak Island's trap, the ground itself fought back. Flood tunnels would suddenly roar to life, seawater rushing in from secret channels carved long before any of them were born. Entire excavations filled in minutes. Fortunes were drained, families were ruined, and still, they returned. Why? Because the whispers were louder than the warnings. The whispers said the treasure wasn't just gold, it was something far bigger. Some said the lost jewels of Marie Antoinette. Others claimed the Ark of the Covenant itself. Can you imagine the pull of those stories? The idea that you, out of all humanity, could be the one to bring the greatest treasure in history back into the light? And then, tragedy struck. In 1897, another crew was certain they had cracked the code. They lowered a pump to force back the floodwaters, but the pump's exhaust filled the tunnel with invisible gas. One worker collapsed, then another, until the shaft became a tomb. The rescuers who climbed in after them never climbed back out. You can almost hear the silence after it was over. The sound of picks and shovels abandoned, of men staring at the earth that had just claimed more of their friends. But the real secret was still buried. For every death, there was always a discovery just enough to fuel the obsession. A stone carved with mysterious symbols, links of an ancient gold chain, wooden platforms driven deep into the earth, far too precise to be natural. Each clue whispered, "You're getting closer, just a little deeper." And isn't that how obsession always works? You can't stop when you're inches away. But Oak Island always seemed to know when to take everything back. In 1959, the Restall family moved onto the island. 4 men, a father, his son, and 2 workers, all living in shacks among the trees, determined to be the ones to end the mystery. They gave up everything, jobs, security, a normal life, because they believed the treasure was right beneath their feet. You can picture them by lantern light, scribbling maps, their hands black with dirt, their hope unshaken. And then, the island took them. One August morning in 1965, the father, Robert Restall, was working inside a shaft when he was overcome by poisonous gas. He collapsed instantly. His son rushed in to save him, but the gas claimed him too. A worker followed, then another. 4 men dead in minutes, their bodies pulled from the island's cold grip. Families broken, dreams gone. And yet, people still came. What they found next changed everything. In the aftermath of the Restall tragedy, investigators discovered the shaft wasn't just random digging. The deeper they looked, the clearer it became. Whoever built Oak Island's traps had engineered them with terrifying genius. Flood tunnels connected to the ocean like veins. Layers of oak and coconut fiber, carried from thousands of miles away, sealed the shaft. Someone, long ago, wanted this treasure buried forever. But who had the knowledge to build such a system? And why hide something so elaborately unless it was more than gold? But the most valuable part was still missing. As the years rolled on, the island ate up millions of dollars. Heavy machinery sank into the mud. Companies formed and went bankrupt. And all the while, locals whispered about the curse, that 7 must die before the treasure reveals itself. 6 have already fallen. And here is the question you cannot ignore. Do you think you'd walk away knowing you might be the 7th? Or would the thought of cracking history's greatest riddle be too strong to resist? Because the curse doesn't just kill, it haunts. Generations of families have been pulled into its orbit. Sons continue their father's work. Friends inherit the obsession of friends. Even today, modern treasure hunters armed with ground-penetrating radar and millions in funding live on that same island, chasing the same dream. And every time the ground shudders, every time water floods in, you can't help but wonder, is the island warning them too? But what they didn't know was, some secrets don't want to be found. The evidence has only gotten stranger. Charred bones, parchment hidden in the soil, a lead cross with mysterious markings, clues that suggest the treasure isn't just pirate gold, but something tied to the Knights Templar, or to exiled royals, or even to secrets meant to change the course of humanity. Each discovery deepens the mystery, but never delivers the final answer. Like the island itself is dangling bait on a hook. And then, tragedy struck again. In 1980, a man named Daniel Blankenship dedicated his life to the hunt. He gave up his home, his savings, everything, to chase the riddle of Oak Island. He didn't die underground like the others, but the obsession consumed him all the same. By the time his health gave out, the treasure was still buried. Imagine that. Decades of your life poured into the ground, and still the earth refuses to give it back. Was he another victim of the curse? But the real secret was still buried. Why does the curse demand blood? Why does the island seem to take lives at the exact moment hope rises highest? Is it just bad luck? Or is there something darker at work? 6 are already gone. Does that mean the 7th will finally break the curse? Or will the island take them too, with nothing to show for it? What they found next changed everything. In recent years, explorers uncovered stone pathways beneath the swamp, signs of ancient ships pulled ashore, tunnels that should not exist. The deeper they go, the clearer it becomes. This was no accident. Someone designed Oak Island to keep the world's most valuable secret hidden forever. But the ocean had one last secret to reveal. Even the most advanced modern digs flood and collapse, just as they did 2 centuries ago. It's as if the builders are still defending their treasure from beyond the grave. And here's where it leaves us. 6 men already dead. A fortune still missing. An island that bleeds seawater every time a new shaft is sunk. And a curse that insists one more life must be taken before the truth comes out. Will it be the next treasure hunter who steps onto the island? Or is the island's hunger already watching someone we don't expect? What would you do if you were the 7th? Would you risk it all for glory, for history, for the chance to touch the impossible? Or would you walk away, knowing the island has never let anyone leave with what they came for? Because maybe the greatest treasure isn't gold or jewels or ancient relics. Maybe it's the island itself, its silence, its refusal to surrender. Maybe Oak Island's true curse is that it will never let us stop searching. So if you think the greatest mysteries of the past have already been solved, you haven't been paying attention. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the next journey.